My favorite memory at a national park unit was probably my first memory of a national park unit. It was, as a little boy growing up in Tennessee, our family trips frequently were to national park units, either around us in the state of Tennessee or close to us in Georgia, Kentucky, Missouri, etc. So as a little boy going to Mammoth Cave and standing in the back of the tours that the interpreters would give and just asking the ranger tons and tons of questions and thinking how really cool it was that that was their job and they got paid to do that. So when I became a National Park Service employee, I found one of the rangers who had retired, who I had bothered as a little boy, to thank her for the patience she had as an adult, and that I would now try to have that same patience in the position that she was in. So I think that's probably my favorite memory, is eating in a cave, walking in a cave, but really being inspired by the people that worked in that cave, who were rangers just like me.
My favorite memory in a national park was when I got to take my family to the Grand Canyon on a cross-the-country trip and be able to experience the Grand Canyon with my kids and let them see the Grand Canyon for the very first time, to see how it impacted them and along with myself, because it lets me know just how powerful of a force this was on this earth to create what was there. So that was my favorite memory in the national park.
My favorite memory in the National Park Service would probably have to be, I think it was 2015, right when I got to Little Rock Central High School National Historic Site. We had a social conscious gathering along with the anniversary. And it was just great just to see all the camaraderie, all the people from different places, all the dignitaries, of course the Little Rock Nine, and just, you know, just to see the community come out and embrace it. And it was just a great moment. I got a chance to escort Andrew Young and just talk to different people and hear people from different perspectives, different organizers. So that was probably my fondest and best memory working with the Park Service.
My favorite memory of a national park, I have a couple of them actually. My son was 4 years old and I took him to Redwood National Forest up in Northern California, and we bought a passport book, and at that point we were making a challenge to ourselves to see as many national parks as we could before he graduated from high school. He later amended that to when he graduates from college, so we got a little more time to finish it. But the other favorite memory that was really, my wife said it made her a better citizen, a better American, when we did a Civil War themed vacation, and we went to about 30 different national parks, all centered around the Civil War. And we became very intimate with a lot of different parks. In fact, my wife says she never knew you could be so intimate with a park. So I've got a lot of favorite memories, a lot of good memories of national parks through the years.
The most favorite memory of the park has been the opportunity of meeting iconic civil rights leaders of the American Civil Rights Movement, such as members of the Little Rock Nine, Dr. Bernard Lafayette, who was a close associate of Dr. King. And it truly has been a great pleasure having this opportunity of meeting such admirable people. And I truly believe that I will treasure these memories, and they will go with me wherever I go.
My favorite memory at a national park, it's a really hard one for me to choose because I grew up in the National Park Service, but I'd probably say any time that I had an opportunity to be with my dad, go on his programs, whether that be his Going Bunkers tours at Gateway National Recreation Area, where we would explore the old coastal defense fortifications of the New York Harbor area, or getting to go up into the Sandy Hook Lighthouse with him. And my brothers would sometimes hide ahead of us in the lighthouse and scare me. Also learning how to ride my bike at my dad's national park, and also I learned how to swim at a national park. So all those opportunities to have first and to learn and to be the person that I am today would probably be my favorite memories.
Definitely my favorite memory of a national park was when I got the opportunity to go to DC for the second time in my life, not the first, but while I was there with a group of individuals, but I had developed this group of friends, and all we basically did was tour DC together. We saw all of these great historic sites, and all the meanwhile, little did I know, these were all different units of the National Park Service. Whether it was the Washington Monument, the White House, to anywhere else along the National Mall, all of these wonderful units I passed by, learned about, and little did I know that they were connected to this organization built to preserve our nation's history and our natural wonders.
My favorite national park unit, I'm going to answer very diplomatically. It's the one I haven't been to yet. Every time I go and visit a new place, I'm just captivated, not just by the resource, but by the people that work there and the stories they tell. I have loved the places I've worked. I love Hot Springs National Park. I love Guadalupe Mountains National Park. I love Central High School National Historic Site. But I think the place I'm most looking forward to is the next place, and the story I've not learned yet, and the beauty of this country and our stories I've just not gotten to see yet. That's my favorite part.
Well, once again, my favorite national park is the Grand Canyon. I love the Grand Canyon. I love just the scenery. I love being there and just looking at the majestic views and just knowing what went on there so long ago. I just love the Grand Canyon.
My favorite national park that I've visited so far would probably have to be the Grand Canyon. Going there for fundamentals was a good opportunity, great opportunity to get a chance to see the scenery and learn from the Albright Center. But that was probably, I'd say, being out there for 2 weeks, it was a great experience, and that was my favorite site so far, just to embrace it and experience it all.
Choosing my favorite national park that's a difficult task to come up with, because national parks are so varied in their the types of parks there are, you know, from the battlefields that we visited, the landscape type parks of Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, and Rocky Mountain. So to pick one is really difficult. By far, I think the mountains are they're always calling, and so Yellowstone and Rocky Mountain, those parks really, I feel comfortable there. You know, my wife says that Mount Rainier is that's her mountain. So picking one is hard. They're all great for different reasons.
This one is a hard one, but if I have to choose, I will say the Grand Canyon National Park, and for many reasons. One is if we study the geology of the park, especially the age of the park, we can see that this is a park, this is a site that has been with us, or has been in this earth for millions and millions of years. Therefore, when I think about this, when I think about the age of the canyon, it often reminds me of our mortality. This is a place that was here before us, and it's a place that will remain here once we are all gone.
My favorite national park, hopefully none of the parks that I've worked at will take offense to this, but I think it's fair if I just don't choose a favorite of the places I've worked at. I really, really love Adams National Historic Park in Quincy, Massachusetts. I was not a John Adams fan until I went to that site. I mean, I didn't have anything against him or anything like that, but I learned so much about him and Abigail and really came to respect them at that site. And what has made Adams so special out of all of the historical homes that I've toured is that when you go into Peacefield, which is the home that John Adams and Abigail retired to, everything in the home, all the furniture, everything is original to several generations of the Adams family. You smell the old when you walk in the house, and there's even a horseshoe above the door that Abigail placed there herself, and it has never left that spot. And so I think that is what has made that site so special and has really stood out to me out of the dozens of parks that I've been able to go to.
So my favorite national park is definitely the Buffalo National River. It is my first national park. I don't know if I've ever been to it, but it's certainly the one that I remember going to first. I went with my cousins camping, and ever since then, I try to go back as much as humanly possible to float the river, hike the trails, or just simply enjoy time with the community.
The National Park Service to me means all the things that you see behind me. It's the stories, it's the buildings, it's the cultural resources, it's the natural resources, it's the people that get to tell these stories, it's the people whose stories we get to tell. It's all those things kind of wrapped up into one, and that's why I think no place is the same, no story is the same, no day at work is ever the same. And that is both the joy and the challenge in being a National Park Service employee. But it's one that I look forward to and savor every day.
Well, what the National Park Service means to me, as being a little black boy growing up here in the United States, here in Little Rock, and understanding what went on with the integration to the high school in 1957, it means a lot to me because now I get to work here and get to meet people who were part of this movement. Not only the people who were part of this movement here in Little Rock, but people that were part of the civil rights movement across the United States. So that's what the National Park Service means to me.
The National Park Service means, I'll say, opportunity to me the most, because I guess you can say I'm kind of a legacy child. My mom worked for the National Park Service, but I didn't ever grasp the whole concept of the National Park Service until getting into college. And I'm from a small town in Columbus, Mississippi, and I don't think people from my community or people from my area knew about the opportunities with the National Park Service. So once it was brought up to me by an advisor in college, and we had people, coming to our college days and career days, it showed me an opportunity, and I think I want to show people from my area, people from my community, people from my school about the different opportunities that the National Park Service can provide.
The National Park Service to me is about maintaining and preserving our heritage as Americans. Even the ugly stories that through the years, such as what happened here to the Little Rock Nine, growth from those stories make us better citizens today. And if people take the information and that they gain from these parks and learn from it and embody it within themselves, it makes us all better people. It makes us all better citizens. So the National Park Service is about becoming better citizens in general.
Service means preservation, preserving the ecological and historical integrity of the places that we have been entrusted with.
National Park Service represents home, love, and family. It represents how I came to be, how I came to exist. My parents met because of my father's career in the National Park Service. My father proposed to my mother at a National Park Service site, and they got married at my dad's National Park Service site. So I quite literally wouldn't exist without this agency. So it is everything to me. Everywhere that I've worked has been a wonderful opportunity to learn more about this country, to learn more about our challenges and our shared experiences, whether those be joyful experiences or painful experiences. It represents preservation and America's greatest idea, and the hope that those who come after us can continue to visit these sites and continue to learn more so that we can hopefully become better.
The National Park Service means history. Whether it's the history of our natural wonders or history like here at Little Rock Central High School. It's everyday stories that we even live today that will one day be history. It is our deeper connection with these locations and stories that help us all identify what it means to be American. That is what I enjoy about the National Park Service.
Happy birthday, National Park Service.
Happy birthday, National Park Service.
Happy birthday to the National Park Service.
Happy birthday, National Park Service.
Feliz cumpleaños al servicio de Parques Nacionales.
Happy birthday to the National Park Service.
Happy birthday, National Park Service.